In 1977, visionary writer-director George Lucas and 20th Century Fox released Star Wars, a galaxy-sprawling space opera that introduced the adventures of Luke Skywalker, Princess Leia, and Han Solo to movie-going audiences. Lucas reserved the toy licensing rights, and after being turned down by Mego, the biggest action figure company of the time, he struck a deal with a small company called Kenner. By 1978, Kenner released a line of 12 action figures and even produced a TIE Fighter, X-Wing, and the Land Speeder. And today, we'll be taking a look at the Land Speeder, here on Creed's Collection. Hey, welcome back to another episode of Creed's Collection. Today we're looking at the Land Speeder from the 1978 Star Wars toy line by Kenner. This Land Speeder belongs to future Jedi and present farm boy Luke Skywalker. It is a Model X-34 produced by the Soro Sub Corporation. It's an older model speeder, and ever since the XP-38s came out, they just aren't in demand. Speeders have a repulsor lift that allows them to hover when they're inside a planetary atmosphere. This is also how all Star Wars ships take off and land without any aerodynamics whatsoever. Speeders are shown as civilian and military transports in the Star Wars universe, though this is the only one personally owned by a hero character, so that earned it a toy in Series 1. And now that we know a bit more about the Land Speeder, let's go ahead and take a closer look. So right off the bat, I like the silver retro look of the paneling here. And here on the front is a button that allows you to open up the hood, and we're going to go ahead and do that right now. So all you have to do is push the button in and it pops it up, and now you have to very carefully pry this open. Now here you go. Inside you can see the engine. It's basically just a sticker, but it's nice. I like that this is here, and it just gives you a little bit more play with the toy because you can pretend like Luke's fixing the engine or the repulsor lift, whichever. I don't open it frequently though because this hinge is starting to show a lot of age. And honestly, I'm glad I recorded it because I probably won't open it anymore due to this. Now we're going to move on to the seats, or more accurately, the back of the seats, where there are pegs which allow you to peg in figures like R2 and C-3PO. Here's a close-up of the back of the seat, and there's the peg. There's one on the other side too. Now the idea is to take R2 and peg his foot in like this, like he was in the movie, except that it's too big, so he has to go that way. You cannot peg him flat like that. So it's either sideways or nothing. However, despite this flaw, it still works really well. As you can see, they all fit on there, and if you're running around or playing with it, they don't fall off. So kudos to the toy designer for thinking of that. It's a worthy addition. Oh, and sorry for teasing you with the figures and not doing a retrospective on them as well, but don't worry, they'll all get covered eventually. No, R2, this retrospective is not about us. I don't think he wants to do a retrospective on you at all. And I wouldn't want to do one on you either. R2, you know that's not true. You're going to get a retrospective. You're welcome, buddy. Alright, so now we're going to take a look at the back of the Land Speeder, where it's got the really cool engine sticking off of it, which give it kind of a dangerous look in my opinion. As we come around to the back side here, you can see it's got the lines for texture, which look nice, and of course the 3 engines, which I'm just a really big fan of. Alright, now we're going to take a look at the cockpit, starting with the glass windshield here, which has yellowed quite a bit, but it's still intact. I actually just recently found this piece in a box of accessories I'd lost for years, and I'm thinking about making a video about that, explaining exactly how I found it and what happened. As we take a closer look at the inside of the cockpit, you can see the controls there on the decal right here in the center console, and then that is the shifter, which allows you to pop the wheels out of the bottom. And we're going to go ahead and take a look at that right now. So here on the bottom there are 3 wheels, and they're spring loaded. So what you want to do is the shifter inside here, you pull it kind of back and down and shift it around to the front, and that drops the wheels out. So as you can see, when you pull it down, they go in, and when you release it, they drop back out. The idea was that the spring-loaded wheels would make it kind of look like it was hovering. Sadly, they're a little worn out now, but it does still work to an extent, and as you can see, it does kind of look like it has a floaty effect to it, which is nice. And after all these years, it does roll really well still. As you can see, if you give it a good push, boy, it just rolls forever. Let's go ahead and do that one more time so you can see. Oh yeah, that's what I'm talking about. On the bottom of the land speeder, you can see the copyright date, General Mills Fun Group 1978, produced by its division, Kenner. And now for our He-Man size comparison and Luke Skywalker size comparison. Even though He-Man is quite a bit bigger than Luke in the land speeder, you can't help but see the similarities between the two. Both are blonde-haired heroes with special swords who live on planets with a low population, and they ride around on hovering vehicles. Huh. And now that I think about it, one has the power and the other has the force. They are a lot more similar than I realized. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch my toy retrospective for the Land Speeder from the 1978 toy line, Star Wars by Kenner. The Land Speeder is one of the most iconic movie vehicles of all time, and I think this toy truly did it justice. It's packed with cool play features, and it looks exactly like it did in the movie, so what more could you ask for? If you enjoyed the video, please leave a thumbs up, and if you have any thoughts, please leave a comment. I love reading and responding to them. And while you're at it, if you haven't already, please consider subscribing. I'd really appreciate it, and it would help my channel grow. I do a retrospective on a toy from my vintage collection every Wednesday, so hope to see you next week and every week after, here on KREED'S Collection.